Okay, this is Ben Fruki for ID Boxing. I'm joined by Hall of Fame trainer Joe Goossen, one of the nicest people in boxing. How are you doing today, Joe?
Well, thanks, Ben. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that.
Fantastic. Joe,
Yes.
this is an amazing fight. There's no world titles on the line, but two great fighters putting everything on the line. Someone's always going to go. Tell me, is this a career-defining moment for Ryan?
Is this a career-defining moment for both guys? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, is it?
Or Ryan?
Well, both fighters, yeah.
Well, of course it is for both fighters. I mean, look, both guys here have the ability on their own to sell out 20,000 seaters, right?
Yeah.
Ryan with Fortuna, filled up the Staples Center. Tank sells out Barclays Center. It's rare that you get two guys in the ring together that are able to sell out arenas, 20,000 seaters. They've got a huge fan base, both fighters, and so it's this is a big challenge for both guys, and it's going to be a career-defining moment for both guys. Me personally, I think it's going to be a career-defining moment for Ryan Garcia, because I believe in Ryan, and I have stated unequivocally years ago, Ryan Garcia wins every fight he's in, and I have not changed my stance on that.
Fantastic. Tank's always been seen as a sort of slow starter in fights.
Ben, could you just speak up just
Oh, sorry. Tank's always been seen as a slow starter in fights.
Yes, Tank's been a slow
He's also got more patience as he's matured.
Yes,
So how important is it for Ryan to make a good start in this fight and get out the doors early?
Well, Tank's pattern has been that, but they could change that pattern for this fight. So you don't know if he's going to, follow the same pattern as he has in several fights. Now, they brought in Kenny Porter as an assistant trainer to Calvin Ford. He might bring some alternative thinking to strategies, so who knows if Tank's going to follow the same pattern. Now, if he does, then your question is, does Ryan try to capitalize on that? Well, I'm not going to give any trade secrets here, but I think anybody that fights Tank would do that and has done it. Now, that might last for a certain amount of time, where they're feeling pretty good, the opponent feeling pretty good about themselves, but then Tank has a way of turning the tables on you as well.
Certainly does. Yeah, and he's done it against fighters who are tall and have better range, like Barrios in the past, Rolly. What do you think differs with Ryan in comparison to people like Barrios or Rolly Romero?
Well, look, Rolly was doing very well early. Leo Santa Cruz was doing very well early. Isaac Cruz did very well early. Barrios did very well early and through a vast majority of the fight. But I always ask the question, what would Ryan have done against any of those four guys I just mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay. Do any of those guys have the same qualities, speed, power, intelligence of Ryan? I think all combined do. Separately, maybe not. So I think we've got a little horse of a different color with Ryan when it comes to making comparisons. I think Ryan, number one, is extremely tall for a 35-pounder, 36-pounder in this instance. He's got tremendous reach as well. His speed is unquestionable, and his power is undeniable. So, given that summation, I'm very confident in Ryan Garcia in particular, and I'm very confident in his abilities to win.
Obviously this is a huge fight. There's going to be pressure on both men in this fight. But do you feel that there's more pressure on Gervonta in this fight? He's seen by a lot of people as the more accomplished fighter. He's, in terms of what he's achieved, Ryan's been calling for the fight for a number of years.
Yeah.
So do you feel, and a lot of the industry experts he's seen as the favourite.
And a lot of what?
Gervonta's seen as the favourite by a lot of industry experts. The bookmakers have got Gervonta as the favourite. So do you feel that the pressure is more on Tank in this fight rather than Ryan?
I don't know. I don't know what he's feeling. I don't know if he's feeling pressure. I just know that it wouldn't be unheard of. I mean, this is a pressure cooker situation. It's one of the biggest fights in many, many years, or it's up there with the big fights of the last decade. The ticket sales sold out, in 1 hour. The secondary market for tickets is just outrageous, the amount of money they're asking for, and they're selling in the tens of thousands.
I can imagine.
And I'm not talking about low tens of thousands, high tens of thousands. This is a very, very sought-after fight for the general public and the people who can afford the best seats. I think the pay-per-view is going to be extremely good on this fight. Is there pressure? I mean, it depends on what you call pressure. When you've worked as hard as probably I know how hard we worked, and I'm assuming Tank as well. That takes a lot of pressure off of you because you haven't cheated yourself. When you haven't cheated yourself, you can run out to the ring from behind the curtain, see, because you've done your homework, you haven't cheated yourself, you did your road work, you did your sparring, you did your floor work, you had a separate living quarters like Ryan did, he had a camp house, aside and apart from his family. That's a big sacrifice. All these things combined then give you a much stronger sense of confidence in yourself. And it allays the pressure factor. If you don't work hard on the floor, you don't get the right sparring, you aren't diligent in your running, you're living a civilian life, you walk out from behind that curtain into the ring, and there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
See?
Barry Jones was on a podcast. Barry Jones.
Who was?
Barry Jones, former world champion.
Yeah.
And he said that if you miss a run, say for example, and in your head you've missed that run, when it comes to, like you said, coming out of the curtains and stepping, in your head you've missed that run, and they're the little things that add up in your head. I missed that run that day, and how's that going to affect me? And so they're the little things you're talking about, the small things, but in totality they add up. And they, of course.
So you're just saying you've confirmed what I've said with other fighters. Yeah. I mean, it's not really brain surgery, but the fact of the matter is that Ryan, and again I'm assuming Tank, poured every ounce of energy and brain power into this fight. It's just too much on the line not to do that. Number one, and number two, these guys are not. They strive for, the heights in this game, and nothing will really deter them. And this is why it's such an intriguing battle, because I think the boxing public and the general public will come to find, but the boxing public knows the quality of these two guys, and that something exciting is sure to be seen on Saturday night, something very exciting, because it's going to be 5-star level quality. I mean, you can have great fights, between two guys that may be at a much lower level of technique and abilities and athleticism. So I've seen great club shows, with guys that you would say were, maybe B quality fighters, C quality fighters. Still great in their own way, but you're talking about A++ quality fighters, athletes here in Ryan and Tank. So you're going to see some really high-level performances between two determined fighters.
You've been around a lot of fights, Joe, a lot of very big fights. Which fight would you draw a comparison to with this?
Well, that's kind of yet to be seen. I mean, if you're talking about build, if you're talking about build up,
yeah, and just
that's
where
something
I
could address. If you're talking about performance, I'd have to tell you after the fight.
But I'm talking about in terms of where both fighters are in their careers.
I'm going to tell you right now, this, it might be scoffed at, but I remember in '81 anticipating the Hearns-Leonard fight like nothing else. Both were undefeated. Both had built up their careers to where they had a great fan base. And that was a real difficult fight to pick a winner in. I don't know who was really favored, but it couldn't have been by much. And so it kind of reminds me of that type of fight where I go, okay, that's a must-see. That's a must-see. Now, have there been other ones down the road? Of course. But that's the one that really comes to mind to me. This one, if I were a boxing fan and somebody that was paying attention to boxing, I wouldn't miss this fight for the life of me, because I would know who the two participants were and what they're capable of. And then, in a lot of people's minds, it's one side or the other. There's two camps that believe in one fighter or the other, and this also makes it very interesting to the general public. So kind of reminds me of that. In terms of what's going to happen in this fight, how exciting it is, and what type of drama might play out, that's yet to be seen.
Fantastic. There's been a lot of people on social media, as always with fights like this, and they've been sort of making comments about Ryan, saying he's one-dimensional, he leaves his chin out, and things like that. What do you make of those comments?
Listen, it's easy to say stuff like that. Ask the 18 guys he's knocked out. Ask the sparring partners how easy it is to hit Ryan. It's not easy to hit Ryan. Look, I used to have a fighter in the 80s named Michael Nunn. Tall middleweight, 6'2", basically. Oh, he keeps his chin up. Yeah, try to get to it. Okay, he was, by the time we ended our relationship, he was 35-0 with 26 or 27 knockouts with me. Nobody laid a glove on him, rarely. He got knocked down once in his 13th fight, I believe, against Carl Jones. But he got up and tore him apart after that. Every fighter gets knocked down, eventually. And, with the rare exception, but, even Mayweather got hurt by Mosley. He stayed up, to his credit. But everyone gets hurt badly or goes down eventually in a fight. It's what you do after that. But again, trying, you can nitpick about Ryan's, posture in the ring, but try to get to him, okay? You could say the same thing about Tank. Tank, you could say, well, he gets hit early, and he doesn't do a lot early. He's a second-half fighter. Well, okay, that's not a real great quality, but he comes back and he beats you. So, everyone's got a little bit of the shortcoming. But Tank Davis is a great fighter. He's determined. He's in shape. He's a winner. Conversely, I got the same thing on my side, but I think is even better. Okay, I think he's bigger. I think he's faster. I think he's very powerful. And he's very athletic.
Will we see Tank get dropped on Saturday?
Pardon me?
Will we see Tank get dropped on Saturday night? Will we see Tank hit the canvas on Saturday night?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'll take a win any which way it comes. Any which way it comes. That's my main objective, is to win this fight. If people get If our opponent gets knocked down, well, that's even better. But I prepare, and as well we should, I prepare for the longest, hardest, most grueling 12-round fight possible. And anything less than that is a gift.
Final question for me, Joe, because I know there's other people waiting for you. Regardless of the result on Saturday night, do you think we will see a rematch?
I have no idea. You know, these things tend to happen when it's a great fight. Yeah. I mean, so it's not out of the question. But I mean, that's so far, you know, ahead of my thinking right now. It's not even something I even dwell on in the least bit.
And okay, give me your prediction for the fight then.
Pardon?
How's the fight going to end on Saturday night? How do you feel it will end?
Well, you know, it's like I told you earlier. We came here to win.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what? You know, this is not, you know, a type of fight you have any other thought process on. The L word is not even in my vocabulary. Okay, that's why I said years ago, Ryan Garcia wins every fight. I didn't even say he would L word every fight. Any fight. He will win every fight. That's how much confidence I had in him then, and that's surpassed my confidence in him has even surpassed that period, which was like 4 years ago when I said that. Ryan Garcia will win every fight he's in. I'm convinced of that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for speaking to me, Joe. And yeah, good luck on Saturday night.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it.